Hello and welcome to Tutorials with Larry. My name is Larry King and I hope to teach you something new today. So this is our third tutorial for ARK Survival Evolved, and today we're going to talk about taming your very first dinosaur. So taming creatures in ARK is a lot of fun. It's one of the best parts of the game in my opinion. One thing you'll find is there are a few techniques you'll use when you're taming, but mostly everything follows the same principle. You knock the creature out, you give it the food that it likes, and the whole time you need to make sure that the dino stays unconscious. And after a certain amount of time, the creature is tamed. And you'll have a friend for life. So there are a few creatures in the game that are actually tamed a little bit differently, in a more of a passive way, but I'll cover those in a later tutorial. So the first thing you need to do today is prepare everything you'll need for your tame. You're going to need a way to knock the creature unconscious, first of all. Once you get to a higher level, you can actually use things like tranquilizer arrows or tranquilizer darts. But since we don't have those yet, the supplies to make those are a little higher level. So we're going to use a blunt weapon to do it. You can use a club. You can actually even use your fists. Personally, I actually prefer using a slingshot. So one thing to know in ARK, there are basically two categories of dinosaurs that you're going to encounter when you're trying to tame them. There are some of those that will run away from you when you try to knock them out, and some that will actually try to eat you or kill you or both. So to make taming easier, you're probably going to want to trap the dinosaur in some way so they don't run away from you or so they don't attack you. And one method is to use a tool called Ebola. Now, this won't work for all dinosaurs, usually just the smaller ones, but it's a great technique for while you're first getting started with this. And as you start to tame bigger dinosaurs, you'll actually probably even need to build some elaborate traps or structures to trap them in. And that's actually really a lot of fun. So today I'm going to get the recipes for Slingshot and Ebola, and I'm going to gather the supplies that we're going to need, and then I'll see you back here in just a few minutes. Okay, well I have everything I need now for my tame. I went ahead and made a slingshot, and I'm going to go ahead and put that on my hotbar. And I also made 4 bolas, just in case, because you do miss sometimes, and you can only use them once. And you want to gather some stones that you can use in your slingshot. So I went ahead and got a few of those. Let me grab a couple more real quick. Now, when you're first taming, you want to consider what it is exactly you want to do with this dinosaur. Basically, there's kind of two categories. There's predators, and then there's more of the sort of herbivore, vegisaur type of dinosaur, and things like a parasaur are actually, they're an herbivore, and you see this small dinosaur right in front of us. That's actually a carnivore. It's called a Dilophosaurus, and so if you tame a Dilophosaurus, you can actually use it to help you fight. If you tame a parasaur, you can actually use it to help you carry stuff or to gather things like fruit and things like that. So I think for starters, maybe let's give a shot with this Dilophosaurus here and see if we can tame him, and then maybe we can try the parasaur after that. So go ahead and equip your bola. That's not the bola. There's the bola. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of get close to this guy. He's probably going to see me and charge at me here in a second. So they do spit poison, so you got to be careful. It'll blind you. All right, this guy's only level 5, so not really high level. So easy to dodge that poison there. So now equip your slingshot. You want to try to actually hit him in the head. Yep, that's it. Just 2 quick shots. Alright, so I'm going to hit the letter Q to unequip that. Now if you walk up to this creature that you just knocked out, you can kind of, see this unconscious meter. When that runs out, they'll actually wake up. You don't want that to happen. So what you have to do is put food in this dino's inventory to tame it. So if you just hit the letter F, you're actually looking at the inventory of this dinosaur now. Now, as a carnivore, it's going to eat raw meat. So let's go ahead and just transfer some raw meat over to his inventory. And you can see he just ate one. So let's back up. And he's already 44% tamed, so this won't take very long. Basically, what happens is you'll hear the term tick. Basically every tick that occurs, this dinosaur will consume one food and gain so much percentage in taming the whole time while that unconscious meter is going down. So what you need to consider here, so you just had another tick, so just got some more food, and he's almost fully tamed. So as soon as he's tamed, it's basically going to ask you to name the dino, and then basically he's your companion for the rest of his life. So let's just wait another second here, and he should be tamed. All right, now you get the fun privilege of naming him or her. And there you go. Now, once you've tamed the dino, by default, he's if you see right over over his head there's his name, his level, and he's currently following me. So if I were to run out a little further, it's going to come right after me. That's kind of cool. So if you actually walk up to him and hold down the letter E to open the radial menu, you can see a bunch of different options you can use for him. The first thing I'm going to do is probably go to behavior. So under behavior, there's an option for his behavior with regards to what he'll do. Like say something's attacking you. His stance right now is to attack my target. So if I'm attacking something or something decides to attack me, he'll go after it and attack alongside me. So if you click on this radial menu item, these are different options. So if you set him to passive, he basically just sits there and does nothing. Something could be attacking him. He won't do anything about it. He'll just sit there until he dies, basically. Attack your target is exactly what I just mentioned. So if I'm attacking something or something attacks me, that's my target, and he'll go after him too. Neutral has a very similar sort of behavior to that, where he won't necessarily attack right away, but if something's attacking me, he'll go after it. Otherwise, he's passive. Passive flee is just like passive, but with the exception of if something attacks him, he'll run away. So that's kind of nice. And aggressive means he just basically attacks everything in sight. So I'm going to set him to neutral for now. Now, let's go ahead and show you how we can utilize him here. So let's see if we can find something like maybe a dodo or something easy for us to attack. So he's still following me. All right, here's a dodo. And you can see there's some Easter eggs. This has happened just after the Easter event here. So there's a quick hotkey command you can use. I can actually start attacking the dodo, and my little friend Rusty here will go right after him. But if you press the period key on the keyboard, it actually drops like a little target over the dodo. And watch what happens. It takes a couple times sometimes to do it. But it drops that arrow, and your dino will go right after him. So if you have 2 or 3 of these guys hanging out with you, they'll all attack at the same time. It's kind of cool. So you can see what happened is Rusty actually killed the dodo, and he gathered hide and meat from him. So this meat he'll actually keep in his inventory, and it'll continue to feed him. It's kind of nice. You can actually drop other items on him to have him carry things for you if you want to, but he doesn't have a lot of weight. He can only carry 45 pounds, which isn't very much. So typically a Dilophosaurus you only use to help you attack stuff. So now parasaurs here, these guys will be able to carry a lot. Now this one's only level 5. Let's go check out this other one here as he poops. Okay, level 14, that's pretty cool, but he's definitely cool looking, so maybe we should try to tame him just to kind of see what that's all about. Okay, so same concept here. We're going to use Ebola, and then we're going to hit him with a slingshot. Now, one thing you need to know is our little friend here, as soon as I attack that parasaur with Ebola, Rusty's going to go after him and try to kill him. So what we need to do is actually set Rusty to passive. So go back to behavior, go to your stance, set him to passive. Now, he won't attack anything. So now we can go over, knock out this parasaur and tame him. Okay, now, something right here. This is actually extremely frightening. This is a Megalosaurus, this thing that's sleeping right here. They sleep during the daytime, they come alive at night, but they are incredibly hard to kill, especially at a lower level. So you definitely want to stay as far away from this guy as you can. Don't wake him up, whatever you do. So let's get away from him a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to snag this parasaur here. With the same technique. We'll pull out our Ebola. And then your Slingshot. Kind of cool when you hit the tech dinosaurs, you see sparks and shock and stuff like that instead of blood. It's kind of cool. So he's a little higher level. Also a little more robust than the Dilophosaurus, so he's going to take a few more rocks to knock him out. And there we go. Okay, so one thing to note about this is an herbivore. So to put food on this one, you want to make sure you do fruit. So medjool berries seem to be the most effective. There's probably a lot of debate on that. There's entire websites out there that tell you which fruits are the best for which dinosaurs and which foods are the best and so forth. But by default, I typically kind of stick to medjool berries. Seems to work the best for me. Okay, so you see he just had one tick, only gained 11%. And also the time between ticks is going to be a little slower on this guy than the Dilophosaurus. So he's going to take a little longer to tame. So I'm going to go ahead and just let this guy tame up. I'll be back in a minute and show you what we can do with the parasaur. Okay, so my parasaur is about halfway tamed. One thing I wanted to point out, if you look at his unconscious meter, there's really no risk of him regaining consciousness before he's fully tamed. But I want to show you what you need to do in case that does happen. Basically what you need to do is you need to continue to sort of subdue the dinosaur while they're being tamed. And I don't want to keep hitting him in the head with rocks, because that'll actually hurt him. So what you actually want to do is actually put narco berries in his inventory and force him to eat them. So I'm going to go ahead and gather a few narco berries here real quick just to show you. Looks like we just got a couple. And again, we don't need many. This is just for demonstration purposes here, because you are going to eventually tame a dinosaur that's going to regain consciousness if you don't do this. Okay, so walk up to him, hit the letter F again. Looks like he's actually out of these medjool berries, so let me give him a few more of those. And then these narco berries. Again, if you mouse over and hit the letter T, it'll transfer to the other inventory. He won't eat these by default. He's going to go after these first. So what you want to do is if you mouse over and you hit the letter E, your universal key, he'll actually eat one of these narco berries. And you can see at the bottom here there's this thing called torpidity. What that is that's basically his level of consciousness. The higher this value, the more unconscious he is. So you can see it actually went up for a second, now it's dropping again. So let's eat these last four real quick. And then this value starts going up. So what you'll have to find is that on some dinos, you're going to need probably a lot of narco berries, throw them in their inventory, and just sort of over time, just have them eat a little bit at a time, and that'll keep him unconscious. So again, we didn't need to worry about it for this guy just because he's not high enough level, but you can see he's almost tamed here. Now, eventually, you will actually use those narcotics. You'll combine them with rotten meat. I know it seems weird, but if you actually open your inventory, you'll have, I've got some spoiled meat here that, naturally the raw meat and even the cooked meat will eventually spoil, and it turns into spoiled meat. What you do is you actually combine the rotten meat with narco berries inside of a mortar and pestle, and you can form narcotics. And if you put those on the dino's inventory while they're unconscious and make them eat those, their torpidity goes way up. So those are actually really nice. All right, looks like we tamed him. So let's go ahead and name him. All right. Now, one of the coolest things about a parasaur, you can't do it with a Dilophosaurus, is you can actually use them as a mount. And this totally changes the game as soon as you have a mount. So what you need to do is actually make a saddle for the parasaur. So let's look at our inventory and our engrams here and see what a parasaur saddle costs. So we haven't learned it, obviously. And those are items I might actually have in stock. So let's go ahead and learn the recipe. And go to our crafting tab. Okay, it looks like I don't have enough. I just need a little bit more hide. I'll go ahead and gather some real quick, and then I'll be back and we can make a saddle for this guy. Okay, I have enough for a saddle. So let's go ahead and make that. Go back to our crafting tab. You can double click it. These two take a second. Alright, so let's walk up to our dino. Press the letter F to open their inventory. And then we have the saddle here. So you can see right here, there's a them tab, there's a you tab. So you can see what armor you have and whatnot. But if you click on them, you can actually drop your saddle right here. There we have it. So if you walk up to her, press the letter E, you now have a mount. And just use your standard movement keys. Hold down shift to run faster. You can see she doesn't run super fast, but what's really cool, press the letter F while you're on the mount. You can see she can carry a lot of weight. So you can drop, if you're gathering wood, stone, heavy things like that, you can drop them on her inventory, jump on her saddle, and just take it back to where you need to take it. The other cool thing about this is you can actually take her over to a plant. And if you hit your attack button, your left mouse button, see she actually gathers berries very, very efficiently compared to you. And the other cool thing about almost every dinosaur that you tame is they have an alternate ability. These guys are lame. They're called Pegomastax. They actually attack you and they steal an item from your inventory. And usually it's something pretty valuable, so they're just more of a pain. So let's get away from him. But another thing this particular dinosaur has is as their alternate ability. If you right click, will trigger the alternate ability typically. So if you do that, it actually sort of sends out this radar blast and it shows you if there are any predators in the area. So that's actually kind of useful. Okay, so that does pretty much cover the basics of taming, at least in the early part of the game. One thing I wanted to cover before I finish the video here is your dinosaurs will also level up, just like you do. So, matter of fact, if you mouse over this guy, you can see he's got the level up icon on him. So he has 1 point available. Just like with your own character, you can actually add attributes here. So if I want him to do more attack power, just add a point to melee damage. If you want him to carry more weight, you add it there, things like that. So they'll level up actually pretty fast. And one thing you will notice too, this one when I tamed him, I think he was like level 14 or 16 or something. When you tame something, if you have a perfect tame, they'll actually gain some bonus levels at the end. So that's why she tamed out at level 20. Anyway, I think that pretty much covers the basics of taming. Remember, just stick to the principles. You knock the dino out, you give it some food that it likes, and as long as you keep it unconscious, you'll eventually tame it, and you'll have a companion for life. Anyway, thank you for watching, and look forward to seeing you next time.